Okay, I don't know how many times I have cried with this movie. Well, more so how much time I've cried with this movie, but I have to tell you, it is emotional, and I cried a lot.
我爸过世了。
免贵，也无咧请用你咧，贵啥的？
这是你爸爸特地从台北带过来的。
我是陈大哥跟美玲修佛的道友啦。
家无啥物美人，我是陈碧昌的太太。
阿弥
阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。
蔡伊对阿爸是真心的，同款查某人的心情，你敢袂当了解？
人真的很奇怪，明明知道对自己有害的，还是会继续做。
你嘛跟你老爸同款，咱一世人在外口流浪。
规工拢叫我爱听阿姑的话，这一生这一生，回带去亲戚遐等。
那你为什么要把我送去美国啊？
我咧一世人做父做爸。
Hi, and welcome to the third episode of Let's Talk About. After 2 weeks, a break of 2 weeks. Yes, I've taken a break because let's say that I needed a break. So I'm finally back. I was supposed to actually, in my schedule, I wanted to bring a music episode, so to speak, but it's still in the process. I'm gonna bring it soon, don't worry. But today I'm gonna talk about a different part of Asia, more so specifically Taiwan, and the movie Little Big Women, which was a discovery, so to speak. Well, not even so to speak, because when the trailer dropped on Netflix in January, probably half of January, because it came out on the 5th of February. So I think it was, yeah, roughly the 15th or the 20th of January. It came out, and I was pleasantly surprised by it, and I was actually waiting for the time for me to actually look at some Taiwanese movie, because I have a lot of Taiwanese movies in my recommended list, my saved list on Netflix, but I'm yet to watch them, and I was trying to find one to actually start, and Little Big Women was the one. Why in the intro I said I cried? For so many things. First of all, because I saw Little Big Women on International Women's Day, and the cast of Little Big Women is an all-female cast with little to no male prominent role. I guess if I remember correctly, I guess it's only two. There's only two prominent male figures in the movie, but the rest is all female. Although the story revolves around a male, it kind of collects the reactions of a family of all women, because we're talking about a mother and three daughters, and we're talking as well about a grandchild, which is a female. So I definitely felt like it was the right time to watch the movie. You know, International Women's Day was the actual time to watch it. So yeah, today I will give you my own impressions and what I think about this movie. I will try to say it in a non-spoiler way. Hopefully I will. But if I leave some spoilers, I'll try not to give major spoilers to the actual plot of the movie. So let's get down to it. So let's talk about the director, Joseph Su, I guess, and I'm sorry for my mispronunciation of the surname. I deeply apologize. Definitely my Chinese will be way more hard and not so understandable compared to my Indian names or surnames or titles pronunciation. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna say the name in Taiwanese, I believe, which is Guomian, or Guomian, which actually I believe it's the literal translation to Little Big Women, unless there has been some sort of adaptation in English. But let's talk about the fact that this movie was actually an adaptation of a short movie that the director did in 2017, which actually revolved around quite the kind of the same plot. We're talking about a grandmother and a grandchildren dealing with the death of their grandmother's husband. So they're kind of dealing with his death, going back to the past, and all of this sort of things. In the feature movie, in the feature film, the plot actually enlarged because we have a family of all women. I would actually be so curious to see the process from short movie to actual feature film, because when movies are adapted from a short film or short movie format to a feature film, I personally think it could go two ways. It can go either it fleshes out really well, or it can give a bit of a havoc. To this stage, I have not yet watched the short movie because I haven't found it, but do please let me know if you could find the short movie. I would be really grateful. For anyone who's listening to the podcast on YouTube, because of course you cannot comment on Spotify or on any other podcast platform, I believe. So to anyone who's listening to this on YouTube, please let me know in the comments. But let's talk about let's go back to what I think personally about the movie. It's such a good movie, and I'm not saying it because I'm a woman, but more so because of the story itself. It felt so nice. We get introduced to the main character of the story, which is the grandma. I need to go and look for the names of the characters, so it would be less difficult, so to speak. So yeah, it's I believe is I'm trying to find them. Becoming a bit strange. I finally have found it. So we're talking about Lin Shoying, which is the grandma of the and the main character, I guess, because although it's an ensemble cast, I think the point of view from which the director wants to take it's from the point of view of the older person, and I think that's why Shoyin as a character, it's a very interesting character. It kind of reminded me of my old grandmother because she's so neat. She's kind of like she makes her presence be felt, if for lack of better terms, because it's such nice. You see her introduction, and by the way, filmography and cinematography, big round of applause, because without a really good filmography, or more so cinematography, you wouldn't really be able to catch all of these details, the colors, the vibrant colors, and the way the color shines, and the way the camera the way the camera looks at certain angles. It's just so nice to see, but we'll talk about it later. It's more so, it's kind of this very strict, so to speak, woman that wants everything to be perfect, and we get introduced to her in a scene where she's at the port, buying some fish because she's the owner of a restaurant, of a family restaurant, which is also run by her younger daughter, Gia, and Gia, I believe it's Gia. Yeah, it's her youngest daughter, because then you have Chen, which is her older, and then you have Yu, which is the middle one. But it's run by her. This restaurant is run by her youngest daughter, Gia, and they're organizing her birthday. So Shoying's birthday. But they come to the news that the father of Jia, Chen, and Yu, which are the three daughters, is dead. And what they don't know is that, well, what they do know, and it's something that kind of broke the family apart, is that their parents are separated. And to me, coming from a Western background, coming into an Oriental kind of background, it's something that it's quite unusual, because a lot of the times as well in Indian cinema, I think there aren't a lot of movies, for example, that show you divorced or separated couples, or if so, they're treated like some sort of a shameful thing. But it seems like that in Taiwanese cinema, or in Chinese cinema as well, it's something treated very normally. And of, yeah, it's life, it can happen. I like the fact that it's treated as a normal thing, of life, and there's no actual shame to be separated. Throughout the whole story, I like the fact as well that they do some sort of flashbacks to let you know what really went down between Shoying and her former husband. But the aspect that I love the most is that the death of this man unlocks so many layers in Shoyin's as a woman. You know, you see this kind of very, how to say it, she's very tough. She's very kind of bossy. She bosses around the whole family. She's very stubborn. I think in one of the scenes she's quite stubborn. Because of course with the age, as you grow older, you become even more stubborn, and it's actually seen, and the director is not afraid to show it, which I think it's something that it's very natural, but at the same time it's not disturbing, so to speak. It's not so disturbing, and it's natural. It comes natural, and it kind of makes you think as well about the future. Like, I personally thought, will I be that stubborn that my child will have to come to me and say, no, look, you did this wrong, or this is not correct, or this is not the correct thing that you had to do. No, it's not there. So like, this kind of made me think. Still, I'm very young, but at the same time, it kind of made me think. And speaking of young, this movie is so. We talked about layers. I said just a minute ago that it expressed layers, but it also expressed layers because it goes through generations. So we have Shoying, which is the elder one. Then we have the daughters. We have Chen, Yu, and Jia, and then we have Yu's daughter, which is Shoying's grandchildren, which is Clementine. Which, funny enough, I believe in Taiwanese is not the right, it's not the right name. It's a Chinese name, or a Taiwanese name. but in English is translated as Clementine. So in the English translation, you will in the subtitles you would mostly see her addressed as Clementine, um, which is and the fact that there's these three generations. It's nice to see how three different generations deals with one thing, and being this three generation female based, you get all of this, not even fragile, but they're very strong people, so to speak. The fragile one, I think, is Gia, because of her kind of relationship, because of the kind of relationship that she has with her father, which is something that is going to be fleshed out as well in the movie. Chen is the elder sister, and she's very stubborn. She really is someone that wants to be very free. She doesn't want to be pulled down, so to speak. She doesn't want to be, someone that has to be controlled. She wants to be in charge of her own life, and she wants to make her own decisions. Also, because I believe Chen is in her 30s. And yeah, she wants to be as free as she wants. And in her character, I believe one thing that it's very, very prominent, and it's quite prominent in Taiwanese cinema, because I've seen so many movies taking this subject at heart, so to speak, is the representation of LGBTQ. Although it's not explicit, and you will see it in the movie, I think she does represent a bit this kind of LGBT kind of element in the movie. And it's so nice, because then you have you, which is the middle child, which is married. And it's something that you don't really get every day. She's married, she's happily married, she has a child, and she's a doctor, which is something that her parents and her uncle and so on always told her to do. She was always kind of compared to Chen, which doesn't want to be commanded or held down by something. She's the complete opposite. You have you, which is this unfortunately very controlled woman, and you'll see it in the movie. She was forced to make certain decisions for her career, for her life, in order to be a successful woman. And she's a doctor, and she's also married to a doctor, and they have a child, and they want that child to have the same path, only that their child, Clementine, doesn't look like she wants to get on the same path, because they would like her to send her abroad, but she doesn't want to go abroad. I won't tell you where, because it's a spoiler, but they want her to send her abroad, and she wants to stay in Taiwan. She doesn't want to go away. She doesn't want to become a doctor. She's very stubborn, but she's also very funny. I think she's kind of the comedic relief of the movie. She's probably my favorite character of the whole movie, because of the relationship that she has with Shoying, which is her grandmother. They seem to be like very close, and they can understand each other. It's nice to see such a relationship between a grandchild and a grandmother. It melts my heart, because I, being abroad, not being able to see my grandparents every day, I most certainly I started having like, oh, her and her grandmother, they're so close to each other, and it definitely will trigger some memories of your childhood if you grew up with your grandparents, which is something that I did personally. I grew up with my grandparents. And most definitely, it will definitely, and I've said too many times definitely, it will melt your heart because of the how close they are. But let's go back to the daughters and let's talk about Gia because Gia is the youngest and she's also the scariest, the most scared of the three. She's young, she doesn't know what to do of her future. She's the only one of the three that still has contact with her dad before dying, and she's kind of like in the middle. She wants to be with her mother, but she also mourns her father. Her father had another woman, and she's also in really good contact with this woman. So she's kind of like in this enlarged family environment that she doesn't know which side to pick, so to speak. Which I found it really interesting because it makes you think about your young days. You're a young adult and you're trying to bring your family together, but there's so many blocks in your family. There's so many kind of walls that your family puts towards one person that you really can't communicate as much as you would or you would like to. I think it was interesting to see this aspect from this character, from Gia, because insecurity is something that especially women gets a bit bashed, quote unquote, for, and I don't think it should be the right case. Insecurity is in every human being, for example, so I don't think being insecure is a weak point. It's actually a strong point. Once you get out of that insecurity, it's actually can be a strong point, and she is quite strong. She's quite strong in her own beliefs. She's quite strong in what she would like to do and how she would like to do it. She runs the restaurant that her mother once ran, and she's quite she's quite bossy. She's also quite bossy about her mom. She's very lazy as well, which I think is a good representation of the young generation. You have these three kind of layers. You have Chen, which is kind of the reckless, but and she never is, she's never there. And then you have Yu, which is the much more responsible one because she's also a mother. And then you have Gia, which is kind of like the future, and she's also quite lazy. And I think it kind of reflects a lot the youngsters of today. We're kind of a bit targeted or tagged as the lazy ones, but she's just lazy, waking up and being like, have to wake up. It's only that kind of lazy, but she's very fragile, I guess, as well. That's the kind of thing. But the three relationships, the Chen, Yu, and Gia, they have three different relationships, both with their father and their mother. They are at different levels, and for example, the Chen and Yu, they don't have a particular tie with their father as much as they have it with their own mother, and Gia is the only one. So she is really the one that knows her father, the last few months or the last few days or years of her father's life. So she's also a lot in conflict with her mother because she took the charges of the funeral. I won't tell you why. You have to go and watch the movie. I won't tell you why. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have to go and watch the movie because it's worth it. And I'm not gonna tell you why she organized the funeral, but she organized the funeral and she thinks she knows a lot about her husband, but the truth is that Gia is the one that knows best. For example, one thing that I really liked and that it's really exposed in this movie is the theme of religion. So in Taiwan, I think as most of the countries such as China, Macau, and Hong Kong, I believe, they practice Taoism and Buddhism as the two main religions. And for example, the family has always been Taoist, but then the father converted to Buddhism. So when they're trying to do the rites, there is this very funny scene, so to speak, where there is both Buddhists and Taoist rites going on at the same time. They say it's like a fight. What's going on? And I thought it was really hilarious because you had the Taoist priest doing the chantings, and then you have the Buddhists, doing their own chants as well. And it was this kind of really strange fight. I think it was Clementine, the one that said, "This is like a fight. What's going on?" But I thought it was really funny. But it is also a point of religion being exposed. You have temples, you have different kind of rites going on. So yeah, I love that part. The religion is also, I think, it's quite dear to Asians in general. So I believe it's interesting to see how it intersects into death, because at the end of the day, it talks about death and being reborn at the end of the day. Because if I do remember correctly, towards the end, you have a banner saying, "Remembering his legacy," or "His legacy will never be that," or something like that. I need to go back and watch it again. But it is something about being reborn after death, which is very significant in my own opinion. The colors that are used in the movie are also quite interesting. You have red, then you have yellow or gold, and then you have white, you have black, you have a lot of different colors that intersects, and they have some sort of a metaphor, each to his own. I think it's beautiful. I don't know all of the metaphors. I did remember something about red and gold, but it's slipping from my mind right now. But colors definitely do also have quite a meaning in this movie. It's very significant. And what I also like is the freedom that each character has to live their life the way they want. And also, if I am allowed to say this, recurring patterns, because each character is afraid of something that impacted their mother, which is getting divorced. We have Chen, which is also separated, or she's trying to get separated, and Yu at a certain time she started doubting her husband as well. So yeah, I most definitely, I think there is a recurring pattern, and how families are not so distant. And one thing as well, I believe it's communication, how there is not a lot of communication between members of your own family, how there should be more communication between members of your own family, because you will get to a day where one of your of the members of your family will die or will pass away, more so to speak, to use a lighter term. um, will pass away, and you may be having a quarrel with one of the members of your family, and then what are you gonna do afterwards? It's gonna it's gonna be difficult when you're gonna be face to face. So there is a need for communication, and I think it's also one of the key points that the movie tries to bring across, because as you go and watch the movie, communication becomes more frequent. You know, it takes a funeral. It really takes a funeral to in order to communicate with people, with members of your own family. We are so caught up in our own life that we don't really we don't manage to talk to our parents, or to talk to our sister, or brother, or yeah, any close member of your family. um it does really strikes me how humanity, or people in general, are um so egotistic, because in the end we are egotistic, we are selfish. Is that we don't really realize it. Is That's what I thought, and that's what Shoying also is. um she is very selfish about the fact that she is the wife of her husband, and she has the rights to do all of the rights. Wow, that's a really kind of that's a really that's not a good pun, isn't it? But she kind of says, I am the wife. I am doing all of the preparation for the funeral. I will do it because I'm his wife, and I'm entitled to it. I know what my husband wanted to, and I want to do it. But the reality is, she doesn't know, and it's an act of being selfish towards someone that, maybe you didn't know so well, because of different things that happen in your own life as a couple. And there are a lot of things that happen throughout the whole movie. You will see it. It doesn't hide a lot of things that a lot of bad sides of Shoying's husband. The fact that they were, for example, bankrupt. It's something that comes up a lot of times. The fact that he liked to go to nightclubs and have this a lot of women that remembered him. It's something that kind of upsets Shoying, and also kind of tells her that he wasn't as faithful as she imagined him to be on the first place, because they were separated. They were separating, or they wanted to be separated. So yeah, I think that she was really selfish as a character. She is really selfish. She has so many layers. I could go on and on and on just about Shoying. But I have to talk about technicalities about this movie, because I said it before. Filmography, at some point. The colors are so vibrant. I remember in one of the scenes, Shoying's wearing a black suit, or a black dress, and the color was so vibrant. It was shining. The first few frames in the port, the way the water flows, or there is a scene in was it the sea where Chen, she's with with a guy that I don't remember the name of the character, and she discovers something about her health, and she's trying to get support. And there at the scene, there is this scene at the sea. The scene at the sea. Yeah, I can say it. I think I can say it. There's this scene at the sea where the color is so nice. I don't think they used a filter or a lens filter. They didn't use a different color for the lens, but it's also a beautiful scene. Thinking about other scenes. Yes, there's a scene about food where they actually point directly at food, and you see all of the colors of the fish, of the shrimps, because there's some shrimps in the recipe she's trying to cook. The main character is trying to cook. Yeah, and the wontons as well, which are very thin, and they were on the table, and she's trying to wrap them up. It's so nice. I mean, it's so detailed, and I don't think I have seen a movie as detailed as this. And this is props to Joseph Su, was actually written the screenplay as well, together with I believe is Maya Huang. Yeah, Maya Huang. I mean, they had 2 wins at I believe is the Golden Horse. I believe. I think so. Actually, no. They had nominees. Oh no, sorry. They had 1 win at the Golden Horse Award for Best Leading Actress, which I believe is the actress that interprets Shoyin. And then we have another win for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role, for the Chinese category at Faro Island Festival. I'm trying to see. To see actually which one it is. Supporting role. Yeah, it's the actress interpreting Chen, which is Ying Xuan Xie. She's really good. She's really good at what she did. Because of the nature of her character, because she's strong, she's very closed as well. She's so good. She's so good, and I think she deserved that award so much because of each character has layers, and I could go on about all of the characters, but if I have to talk about Chen just for a brief minute, just to add something, would be I would like to be as tough as her. She has to go through so many challenges that life itself gave to her. She's sick. She has a divorce. She would like to divorce, but there are some problems over there. She wants to be independent. She wants to be an independent woman. She doesn't want to be tied down, as I said before. So I believe that her performance, she did deserve that award so much. And as well, into technical awards, there were 5 nominations. So I think this movie is great, and it should be watched. Please go watch it. I would say that if you had to go and watch it, please watch it, because first of all, it's a treat for the eyes because of the filmography. The story is written so well. The characters are complex, but at the same time relatable, because they're human beings. I think that, especially for women, but also for men, it will be interesting to see how relatable in different ways they are as characters, as human beings, not as fantasy characters, but more so as human beings. Um, the music. I was forgetting the music because the music is such a critical element as well in the movie. It's not a musical movie, but the background score and the 2 3 songs that are in the movie that are sung, 2 of them are sung by Shoyin. Because in case you don't know, Taiwanese are fanatics of karaoke's so much that they have karaoke's in taxis. There is one specific scene where, or well, two. There's 2 specific scenes where she sings in the taxi, and I felt like I want to go to Taiwan and get on one of those taxis and sing one song. Doesn't matter if I don't know Mandarin or Taiwanese, because I also would like to mention that the movie has 3 languages. It has Mandarin, it has Taiwanese, sorry, and then it has Hokkien, which I believe is spoken in China, in the south of China, and it's also spoken in little pockets, in little communities in Malaysia, as far as I know. Hokkien is also spoken over there. But God, how much I loved it. The music. The music is such an integrated part of the narrative, because if you look at the subtitles, each song is so pertinent to what is happening. And it is the song that actually brought me into tears from, yeah, it was probably the last 20 minutes of the movie. Last 20 to 15 minutes of the movie. I started being so emotional. I think I bottled up so much during the movie that at a certain point I had just to break down and say, yeah, I need to cry. And I cried not only for those 20-15 minutes of the movie, but also afterwards. I was unable to stop. I was like, yeah, stop, it's fine. And then I continued to tear up, and I also heard the songs, the background score, and the songs straight after I watched the movie, and I kept crying for a while because I felt so emotional. And you will see why towards the last 15 to 20 minutes you will get emotional, because I really do invite you to watch this movie. It's available on Netflix in various language subtitles. There's Italian, there's English, I believe there's also Spanish and Polish. So please do go and watch it. Don't be scared by the subtitles. Break the barrier of the subtitles. And do please watch this movie. I'm saying it so many times, but I think it's worth it. It's worth it so much. It's not gonna be time wasted on something. It's gonna be good time and enjoyable time. You're gonna feel like you're part of the family as well, or you would like to be part of the family, although you may think they're completely crazy. But I personally felt I wanted to be part of that family. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of episode 3. I hope you liked it. Please, if you're listening to this on YouTube, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Please leave a like, and still, if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell in order not to miss any of the updates of the YouTube channel. Especially, please put the notification on all, so you will be able to get all of the notifications. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify and Google Podcasts, Spreaker, or any other podcasting platform, please sustain the channel by subscribing or following the podcast. And share it with anybody that you would like to share it, or if you think it's interesting. No harm in sharing. And yeah, that's it. Until the next episode, which I hope it's gonna come out soon. I believe it's gonna be a music oriented episode. Until the next episode, please stay safe. Stay safe and take care of you all. I would like to remind you that unfortunately we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and wherever you are in the world, please stay safe. Until next time, have a nice week and weekend. Bye.